What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I am Jugrnaut,
I am Mike Trauma D.
and together we are platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. Welcome to the podcast. If it's your first time here, smash that like, subscribe button. Make sure you're following everything that you need to do to make sure that you can keep up with us. The Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We get together weekly to just talk about things that's happening in the music business, to give artists a little bit more insight, resources, so that you don't waste time and or money on your journey in the music business. This week, we wanted to talk about something that was a little bit more serious, I would say, right?
Yeah.
And not saying everything else isn't serious, but we wanted to send condolences and best wishes to the family of PNB Rock. He was recently killed during a robbery in California, and we just wanted to just talk about just the state of hip hop and how rappers are in danger, and how this profession of rap has turned into probably the most dangerous job in the world. And rappers are really in danger, and they really have to watch themselves. So we wanted to just talk about that and really talk about, just the state of it all. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Man, it's crazy, man, because you know when you go over the years of you know artists that have been killed, it's just the amount of artists, is just it's crazy that the numbers is just through the roof, and it's really sad, that some of our talents, man, that have such a huge career or have such a huge, talent or body of work, or that gets their lives just get cut down so short. Sometimes even before they could really even, uh, get their music out there. It's just I don't know, Jug, man. Something got to be done. Like cats got to start moving different. It's, at some point, man, you got to like wake up and be like, yo, what can I do to kind of minimize some of these things that are happening? Because believe it or not, man, these artists are being targeted, man.
Yeah, I agree with you when you say they're being targeted, and it's really unfortunate because it's prominent artists and artists that are on the come up. It's like it's varying degrees, It's
Right,
not it's not just like unknown rappers that are just being, those the ones that we don't even hear about, right? But then we're talking
right.
about the ones that are, quote unquote, somewhat prominent. Um, with the PNB Rock thing, for those who may not be aware of what may have happened, apparently he went to a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in LA, and that's where the robbery took place. He had sat down to eat. I guess he might have been there a little longer than he should have been. Some reports that I had saw, as far as some news reports, were saying it may have had something to do with some geolocation images that may have been shared by who he was with, while he was at the restaurant, and that's what probably caused folks to know where he was and pull up on him. Again, that's all alleged. We don't want to kind of speculate on that, but with us, it's funny because we have the same attorney, and when he was signed in sometime in 2015, our attorney had reached out to us to kind of put us together to see if we can do some work with him. And it's just 7 years later that we're here, and it's like such a short period of time. But I guess what I want to know is, like, what do you think he could have did differently that may have been able to avoid that?
Um. Well, the thing is um, you don't even know what really took place.
Right.
They say the They said that his location was promoted or tracked or whatever. But we don't know for sure. Like that's what happened. As far as that's the reason. For he could have been followed. For they could have been folks in the parking lot and seen him pull up. You
Even in the
know,
restaurant.
yes, people in the restaurant see him. People talking to their friends and texting each other that so and so's here. You know, it could have been anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to pinpoint in that situation exactly. But you know, as an artist, you know, we like to wear big jewelry. Like to drive real loud, fancy vehicles. You know, um, so it's very easy to spot an artist. You see maybe a bright colored Lamborghini, you know, or some like a real custom vehicle. So you're like, okay, that's so and so. You know, you drive past any diner or whatever, and you see one parked outside. You be like, oh, that's so and so's car. You know, these guys are walking around with $500,000 in jewelry with no security. Like what do you think the wolves are going to feel? There's people around you that's starving, literally. I mean, we just came out of a pandemic. A lot of people out here that don't have any jobs, they're desperate, and time after time, you're seeing on the news how desperate people are getting. You know, uh, brazen robberies in broad daylight with no regard for whoever's there, whether it's wife, mother, child. So artists definitely have to like really think about these things, man, and protect themselves. Whether it's having security or whatever.
I think it's a perfect storm. And when I say it's a perfect storm, it's like, one, we've created an environment where um we've basically rendered the police useless. Right. Um Over the last few years, we've seen a whole lot of, in certain states, defund the police, different things happening, and then you see a certain level of lawlessness. I think in like California, they're not even stopping people for like shoplifting or burglary, these type of things. They're just kind of just doing whatever. And you have something similar that's going to take place in Chicago, where there's no cash bond come the beginning of the year. And if you basically are, caught robbing or kidnapping or something like that, you'll basically be, um, you won't be detained. Basically, they're not holding you in jail, right? They're going to basically book you, and then they'll release you back into population. So we're talking about people was doing serious crime, just being, basically processed through the system and put back out. And at the end of the day, you take that element of, no repercussion from the police, because that's probably the only deterrent that we really had. Then you take the culture of flossing, right? And I don't want to put this on the rappers, but the rappers have to understand, or they had to have known that they were putting things on the gram to say that it was inspiration, to inspire people to be like them, but really it was just you know flossing, 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 and now you've become targets. Like you said, people are desperate, right? We come from an era where you just couldn't do that. You couldn't keep broadcasting how much you made or how much money you got, or it made you a target.
But in all fairness, man, hip hop has always been known for the what they call trucked jewelry. The oversized. Look at the Slick Ricks, the LLs. The Big Daddy Kane. Rakim. They all had the big jewelry. You know what I'm saying?
But they never broadcast how much it cost. Right? Am I?
Right.
Am I right? They wore the jewelry, but they never
Hmm.
broadcast how much it cost. You just knew that it was expensive, but they never broadcast that the jewelry was 150,000. The watch is 250,000. Like, they never did that. All they did, they wore the jewelry as was part of the, like you said, the hip hop costume, right? That's what it is.
Hmm.
People come out, they got to wear what they got to wear. Mr. T, right? It came
Yep.
out, Chains, whatever it came out, but they never told you how much that stuff all cost. They never told you that. That was never part of the broadcast. They were never on. They were never on TV counting money, on music videos counting money.
And then there was no like Instagram and all of that stuff back in the day, so it didn't have all of these things where you knew my location.
That's another thing. You never knew where I was. I would pop up. If you caught me, you caught me. You didn't have those, that type of communication where somebody can be in your location in 10, 15 minutes once somebody puts the call out, But from my vantage point, um, I think we've gotten to the point where folks are not having it anymore. You're not going to be able to be flexing in people's neighborhoods who don't have it. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. I don't think, you never really could do it. I don't know why people thought that they were able to do that you were able to go through neighborhoods with $250,000 of jewelry and nothing would happen, that no one would try you, even with security.
Do you think a certain level of success gets to an artist's head where they feel that it can't happen to them? Like, what do you think goes through their mind? Do you think it's, oh, I'm this, I'm that, or or it's just blatant ignorance,
It's
or
not ignorance. It's because most of us come from that element, right? So what we try to say is that we can identify when a jukes is about to happen, right? Because most of us have been on both sides, right? If you've been in aggressive environments like in New York, Cali, and you've seen people get robbed, or you've been with people who was robbing, right? You kind of feel like, okay, you know how it's going to go down, right? And for the most part, you're moving the way you need to move. But you know how it goes. It's whoever catch you first. It just you can't basically you can evade it most of the time, but not all of the time, right?
mm-hmm.
I guess most people growing up can always talk about a situation where somebody tried to take something from them. If tell me if I'm wrong,
Mm,
especially if you grow up in those type of environments. All right,
yeah,
everybody's been in that situation where somebody has tried to take something from you, and either you fought them back, right, or you got, and you learn from it. But most people are able to talk about it the next day. But in this environment now, they're not leaving you to talk about it. They killing you, which I think
mm,
is excessive. And I think I seen Joe talking about that on an
yeah,
interview, saying you
yeah,
could rob somebody, but you ain't got to kill them. You know,
yeah.
but I think in PNB's case, I don't know if he was armed. He may have had it on him. So I'm not sure if that may have been the reason why they decided to go that route. But again, we don't know. It's all allegations. I don't know.
Man, it's a
Rappers
tough.
are in danger. Rappers are in danger. We need the rappers to understand that you got to stay out of certain areas.
I
And
mean, it's crazy because it's like it's part of you know it's part of their campaign. That you know they're able to travel through the hood and you know
no more. And you got to smarten up. Too many people getting killed. It's too many. It's not like you know stuff happened to Big and Pac and then it goes quiet for 5, 10 years. No, it's not. It's not like that anymore. It's every month.
yeah, yeah.
It's every other month. Somebody's being murdered. Like you
Whether
can't. You
whether it's, whether it's big or known
yeah.
or unknown, it's just the rate is just really
It's too
really
high.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah, it's too high, and I don't think that these guys like they're not taking it serious enough, man. Like I guess you said like maybe you go into your head and you thinking you can't get got.
but you know what? It's like you know here you are a young kid from the hood with bad habits because you're a kid. Maybe a teenager or you're a young adult and from the hood you have nothing and you have certain habits and behavior, and then all of a sudden, by God's grace and some skill and some strategically placed things happen in your life, and boom, you're a known artist. You get this deal. You get, all of a sudden you get a $500,000 or something like that, and you want to show it off. You don't. You, they don't know what to do. Nobody really teaches money management, or how do you handle money and success? How do you handle the spotlight? How do you handle these things when it's given to you? When you come from a background or a neighborhood with all of these things going on. Some artists don't even have parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, or their parents are in the jail system. Or you've been your whole entire life, you've been running the streets doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Now you got $500,000. Like, folks really think that all of a sudden the artist is going to be some sort of role model on the flip of a switch. Like, there needs to be some sort of intervention or something where, okay, we're going to give you this, but there's some sort of program or steps to help you groom you into being an artist, and getting you out of this type of lifestyle that's gonna just you know bring you back down, get you killed, put you in jail. And I'm damn sure these labels got these insurance policies on them.
We're gonna talk about that. But let me ask you, even if you had that, would they listen?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, we're watching it in real time. Like, how many people we gonna watch in real time pass away,
I-
and they still don't change the behavior? The behavior is still the same. Everybody acting like it can't happen to them, like they can't get got.
yeah, I'm not saying it could happen on a flip of a switch, because a lot of this behavior and this way of thinking, and it's not just in music entertainment, man. It's just in our communities, period. You know what I'm saying? But they got to be a program or some sort of something set up to help transition an artist that's had nothing, and behaving and acting a certain way, and then all of a sudden you're gonna give them $500,000. What do you think you're gonna do with it? I mean,
I,
for real, like real talk, like you give $500,000 to artists that's from the hood, that never seen that type of money, that has a background dabbling in the streets, and if he doesn't have the right people around him, management, support system, whatever. I mean, look, you can look around, look at the headlines.
there's not much you can do about it, man. Like, even if I've seen situations where, or we've both seen situations where we trying to even school an artist on a lot of things, and artists ain't listening. With as much experience as we have, we try to school them on different things, and artists aren't listening. Everybody thinks that it doesn't apply to them. I'm different. You pushing your fears on me.
Or they
You're not
know it all.
right, or they know it all. So it's like, rappers are in danger. We keep saying that. We've been saying this now. I think we've said this for, like, we said that the music industry is more dangerous than the streets, or just as dangerous, or it is the streets now. Like, well, when are they gonna figure it out? Like, listen, you cannot do these things that you're doing. Like, you cannot broadcast your locations unless you're doing shows. You ain't got no choice on that. You cannot um you cannot frequent certain types of establishments in certain areas. And you definitely can't do it in a situation when you're flooded with jewelry. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? And it all comes from us seeking validation, or trying to validate who we are, right? So we have to wear the jewelry, or we have to do these things. Because, listen, I'm not gonna act like I didn't buy pieces of jewelry when we were coming up. I'm guilty. Guilty of buying big watches. I'm guilty of buying chains. I'm guilty of that, right? And all of that is to, like you said, it's kind of like the costume, right? To basically advertise that I am more than everybody else, right? Or I am doing something more than everybody else. Let's just be honest about it, right? In this business, people don't want to work with you if you're not more than everybody else, or if you don't
Right.
appear like you're gonna, if you don't appear like you got
The
it going,
standout. Yeah.
right? Nobody wants to work with you because they don't want to feel like they're bringing you up, or they're giving you the come up, right? So you
Right.
have to make sure that you have your costume together. You got to make sure you got your jewelry. You got to make sure you got your cars, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I've seen the whole car situation. You don't get this or get that, but then when you get the new whip, you get this. Oh, it's all love now. Oh, come rock
Right.
with me. We've seen it. We've seen the change in some
And the way people
opportunities.
teach you and the opportunities.
Yeah,
When once you got the cars and the jewelry, now once you got the costume on, okay, you in the industry. When your work is supposed to really say that, but they don't really look at it like that, right? So if you don't have the things to show off that you're part of, even if we go down even to the plaques, but like if you don't have the things to show the social proof that you're really doing something, people don't want to work with you, right? And I think
yeah,
that's across any industry, right? The people want to see the
yeah.
social proof. Unfortunately, in our business, the social proof is the jewelry, it's the cars, it's all the stuff that make people envious and jealous. Like, let's be honest, it makes people jealous, right? When we were first coming up, and when we had gotten our first like major uh publication, right? Source, boom, we in the joint, full page, and I'm back in the hood, and I start hearing this different way that they start talking to you, and people have to be aware of that. Like, you got to be aware of how people start talking to you. Hey, what's up, big time? Yeah, we just trying to be just like you. Yeah, we trying to be rich like you. We trying to get it like how you getting it. It's the way that people start talking. They start talking different, right? And if you're not aware of it, you're just thinking that people trying to show you love, but it ain't really love. That's really that's that envy coming out. That's some of that jealousy coming out. And you got to really understand, like, listen, if you keep pulling up and you keep in your presence is basically showing them that they're not doing what they need to be doing.
Hmm.
Right? It makes people
Right.
feel uncomfortable that you getting it and they not getting it. Right? That's what's happening.
It shows a spotlight on what they're
Exactly.
not doing.
Or what they're not doing. So you thinking that you coming through and you thinking that you inspiring folks. You're not inspiring folks. Only thing you was inspiring is jealousy and envy. Right? And this goes back to your early, if you're a religious person, you goes back to Cain and Abel, same thing. You know what I mean? Like, people, it's a jealousy. You can't be doing all the good things, and then these people are looking at you like, you thinking you inspiring folks, but them folks ain't looking at you like that. They're looking at you
Man,
like, hey, you think that you everything. You think you all that. Who do you
that,
think you are coming through here with the Navigator? Who do you think you are coming through here with the Escalades and the Benzes? And who are you? Who do you think you are coming through with with the Gucci this and the Fendi that?
yo, at some point, man, this whole inspiration thing, we- folks don't need no more inspiration,
Folks
man.
don't need no inspiration. And
Come
and
on.
true and look, man, and let's be honest, man. These guys is flossing, especially with platforms like Instagram. They flossing for women. Let's not act like that's not part of the situation, because in this game, men are invisible. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be doing something, or you have to be somebody in order to get the attention of the opposite sex. Let's just be honest.
Man, man, we in a different world now, man. You know, I don't even think that it's even for that. I like really, I think like dudes be showing off for freaking dudes. Honestly, like
Like,
I'm
there's
gonna
some,
stun
there's
on
some
these.
of that
Like,
too.
think about it. I'm gonna stun on these niggas. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show these niggas. You know, this is what real niggas do. Like, everything is really on some braggadocious, you know, trying to show other niggas, and it ain't for the women. The women, it's niggas stunting on niggas. I'm
Oof.
coming through the hood. I'm gonna shine on these niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like they always say, like women always saying niggas be doing the same shit that women be doing, man. The niggas be barbershop talking, pillow talking, showing off for other niggas. Same shit. You know what I'm saying?
You talking that talk right now, bro. Like, like
So
I can't even I even got a rebuttal for it. It's like it shit is real.
yo, man. So when you entertaining all of those things, man, and then you got social media platforms, man, that's gonna amplify it, and it's gonna. We're not even gonna talk about the algorithm.
Right, the algorithm promoting the shit too.
Oh my goodness, that's a
Yeah, like
whole
that's
nother,
the algorithm promoting it, so it's not
and
even
that's a whole scary situation. And when the algorithm takes these things, um, these negative things, and promotes it and rewards you for promoting these things. And I ain't gonna say too much on that because it's gonna remove us
right
from the
because yeah,
algorithm.
we want the algorithm to work for us, but it's like
But you
if it's
know,
negative, it's gonna
but
promote
man,
it. You
it's
know it.
gonna get, yeah, it's gonna get promoted all over more, and to the wrong people. So here you go, opening up your IG or your YouTube or whatever, and you're gonna see these images day in, day out, day in, day out. And that's why I always say, not to go too far off the topic, but we gotta watch what we, be mindful of what we look at every day and what's being promoted to us.
It's real.
You know what I mean? And what we're promoting. And if we're promoting jewelry, if we're promoting, flossing, and we're promoting all of these materialistic things, and here you are at the receiving end, reading that, seeing that every day, day in, day out, and your ribs are touching, you ain't got no job, you're desperate, and you start really seeing these things, and then they telling you where they at. It don't even take a criminal to start thinking crazy stuff. It just takes a person who's desperate. It don't even got to be a person who's a known criminal or has a reputation of being a criminal. But when you got someone who's just desperate, probably never committed a crime in their life, and they say you flashing a $500,000, man, them thoughts start going in their head.
Sometimes it don't even be about that. Sometimes it's be about the clout.
Oh man, that's even worse.
Sometimes it be about the clout. I could speak for something when I was much younger, and a certain rapper was coming to my high school. I was like a high school, close to a high school senior. Certain rapper was coming to pick up a chick or whatever that he was talking to at my high school, and we out there with the crew, and we see the rapper, and and basically we started to float the idea of we should just rob him just to say we did it,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was the idea, and it was one of those things where it's like, okay, you're young, and you're just doing silly shit, but this is the thought pattern, right? This is the thought pattern. And anyway, he wasn't wearing any jewelry. He wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that time because around that time was more conscious rap. You know what I'm saying? But it
Hmm.
was just because we couldn't go talk to the celebrity because he was coming there and he was taking the chick or whatever, and some people felt a way about that.
Yeah. He
You see
kind
what
of
I'm
he
saying?
kind of he kind of stunting on y'all actually.
Exactly. So he's kind of stunting on us, exactly, because he's a little bit older. He coming for the chicks that you can't, that weren't interested in what we were trying to do, right? Because he was
Hmm.
doing something we wasn't, you know. But at the end of the day, this is just the dynamic of our community that's like it's broken. It's a broken mindset. It's broken. It's not. It's always looking at somebody else and versus saying, hey, how did you do that? We're looking at like how do we take it from them, or how
Yeah.
do we destroy what they've built because we can't
Yeah.
build it ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, this crabs in a barrel mentality is just, it's just too much, man.
As people
You
say,
know.
crabs don't belong in a barrel, right? You know,
Yeah.
that's even deeper, right? I say crabs don't
Yes.
belong and don't belong in the barrel in the first place.
That's
But at
true.
the end, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like rappers are in danger. We're trying to tell you guys need to start moving different. If you're not, what's your take on people talking about checking in when you go in different places?
Man, I always wondered how come Garth Brooks doesn't have to check in, or how come Miley Cyrus doesn't have to check in. Like, why is it just our genre? Like, like why is it just us? Like, we have to go in.
Because we like to frequent the places that are dangerous.
Well,
You know,
checking in,
we like
check.
to go places that put us at risk. So if we're gonna go places that put us at risk, you need a guide. you're gonna need somebody to say, "Hey, don't go here, don't go here. Let me holler at people before you get where you're going to keep yourself safe."
Well,
Because we like to put ourselves in danger.
well, checking in is a fancy word for freaking extortion.
That's what some people say. Some people
You know what
say
I'm
it's
saying?
a fancy word for extortion. Other people say that, hey, if you tapping in, you telling people that you're coming to town. Folks will say, all right, where you gonna be going? Where you staying? I'm staying over here. All right, nah, you want to go over there? Don't go over there. Go here. So some people look at it as, like you said, extortion because I'm checking in because are we paying for protection? Or other people are more like, yo, you coming in? They're gonna tell you what's going on. Meaning, you coming into the city right now. The city's hot. um, yo, you might want to stay away from ABC because this is what's going on with over here with police or the ops or so forth and so on. So people look at it on two different levels where you got the extortion check-in, like you're supposed to get fake, get security from checking in with whoever, whatever that might look like. And then the other situation is, hey, you checking in so people can give you the temperature of what's going on in the city before you get there. And then you can know what to avoid or where to go versus just kind of going blind. You don't know what's going on. Like for us, we like say for example, like we used to go to LA frequent, right? Early,
Hmm.
early 2000s, we used to be out there. We didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there were certain places that we didn't frequent, right? We
Right,
you know what I'm saying? We were like, all right, we're not going into the hood. We stay in North Hollywood. We going over here. We stay in Beverly Hills. Certain places in LA we wasn't going, or we was just kind of breezing through. Because we knew that that element was out there. And
right.
coming from where we come from, you're like, nah, we're not trying to go in those areas. But sometimes you can be in it inadvertently and don't know.
Yeah,
So
like, but that reminds me of the incident with what's the rapper name that had the incident recently, maybe a couple weeks back, when his Jeep was shot up and his boy got killed. Um, and he's connected with the Vaughn
I'm
with
not, I'm not familiar with all of that.
Dirk's people getting killed. Damn, I just drew a blank. But homeboy it just draws a blank. But homeboy, used to check in, I guess, with the gang, and then because of this incident, um, he renounced the gang.
Mm.
He renounced the gang that he was affiliated with. So now what happens? You know what I'm saying? Because his people got touched in L.A. And it could have been his life too. So I guess apparently, he's saying, well, what's the use of the gang?
If they ain't gonna
If
protect you,
right. But then the worst part is now the same people that you've been possibly paying for protection, maybe, or whatever. Now, you denounce them. You just open yourself up now to a meal pass, pretty much. Now those same people that was quote unquote supposed to protect you are now most likely probably gonna be like, you know what? If he's saying F us, now we really gonna be on his head. So they come back again to that checking in. And my bad that I can't remember the dude's name. It just crossed my head. But this whole checking in thing is just is wild. To me.
I feel like there are, like you said, there is a connotation to it to being some extorting going on, and they've always said that for the longest time. Um, but I don't know what to tell anybody that is going to a city and their intention is to be places that are dangerous. If your intention is to be places that are dangerous, or say your venue takes you somewhere that is dangerous, I don't know what options you got outside of either checking in or coming with serious heavy security. You
But you
know,
don't even have to be in an environment that's considered dangerous
not anymore in
because
California. No.
that incident, Quando Rondo, the guy's name.
Right. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't remember that.
Um, I mean, the incidents be happening like right down the block from the Beverly Center. Like it be in broad daylight anywhere. Look where
Go ahead.
look where what's his name got killed? FG Duck. you know, right on the strip where all of the fancy boutiques are at, Gucci and Prada and all that stuff. Like it, you could be in the safest or appear to be the safest environments, and it can still go down.
Let me ask you, if you're not, if you don't travel in costume, right?
Hmm.
Would most folks know who was who?
I'm gonna say this. I recently saw a a Kumo D in Arsenio Hall interview, right? And some of y'all like, who's that or
Yeah, who's
whatever.
that? Right, but go ahead.
Old school hip hop. And Kumo D used to wear the big giant shades that cover up damn near his half his face. So Arsenio asked him, "Hey, a lot of the people, a lot of women want to see how you look, see your face. They take the glasses off." And he was like, "You know, I do this so that when I want to go certain places, or if I want to go grocery shopping, or if I want to just, travel where I need to travel." He said, "I literally could take these shades off
And you wouldn't know who he was.
and wear my hat down, and you wouldn't know who I am." And I didn't know that. All these, I was like, "Oh, that's why." It was part of like, I'm not gonna give you my full identity because I still need to move amongst the people. I still gotta, do this and do that. And it's a way of it was his way of security.
But it goes back to, again, this isn't like, we're not talking about Drake. We're not talking about, like, Dirk, who are, Little Baby, very, very, very big artists that are
Right.
very, recognizable. We're talking about some artists that may have some, get some regional run, you know what I mean? And different type of things. If you're not wearing all of that situation, if you're not moving a certain kind of way, you can blend in, and the other day I was driving somewhere, and I had on some merch, whatever, and that's when people start asking questions. They see the merch, right? I got a
Mhm.
big logo on. Say, hey, are you? So if I wasn't wearing it, they wouldn't know who you was,
And it's such a catch-22, man.
because you're trying to promote it, but don't promote it if it's going to put you in danger. If it's going to put me in danger, I'm gonna stop wearing it. If it, I got my kids in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm traveling with my family. Like, if that's going to be the case, where if I wear a certain watch, you know that, okay, he working with something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If I go someplace and I, you know, pull out a certain type of Amex, they know that you're working with something. Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand where you are. And you gotta understand how you gotta move. You know?
It feel like you gotta have your how do I say this? The watch, your everyday watch, and then you have your flossing watch. And depending on where you are, we going or whatever, you know, you rock what you gotta rock. And
Listen,
then because it don't make no sense to be rocking the flossing watch when you go in the grocery store. You know what I
but that's
mean?
but that's but that's what's happening, man. Like, that, it don't make sense to wear those type of things. Like, look, let's not even, like, let's say, for example, you got somebody coming in to repair something in your house. You leave your jewelry out? Do you leave your money out? I'm just, do you
Right.
you do you leave expensive things out so people can case your house?
But I think people I'm
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I,
Like,
right.
it's the same premise. It's like, like we don't know who's coming in. You don't know where you're going. So some of the responsibility is on you to protect yourself and move a certain type of way. It's like, you
And
gotta protect yourself.
but we do have to say this, man. We do have to say we're not saying these things as a putting the blame solely on the artist and all those things. We're not like you should be able to wear your stuff, without worry of being killed for it, and we can't fully put the blame on the artists, so we don't want it to come off as, oh man, what about the shooter? What about the shooter? You know, but yo, shooters gonna be shooters, man. Like,
And that's really no excuse. And I don't want to. You're right. By saying that, by saying, hey, we don't want to put the blame on the people who are working and earning their stuff for real, right?
right,
You're earning your
yeah,
stuff. You're working for real. What about the folks that's out here acting like savages, right? Day in and day out. And then people wonder, like, yo, why we can't get any help from this politician or help from. It's because they out here acting like animals, bro. Like this 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 is exactly the reason why stuff like the crime bills get passed. It's because they see folks just, you know, the other demographics don't want to be the victims. It's okay as long as you guys are the victims. If you're killing each other, we okay with it. But once it starts to bleed over to those other demographics, watch how everything starts to change. Watch how policing starts to come back in hardcore force. You know,
mm,
like this is the situation with us, man. Like if we are acting the way that we're acting as a community, if we can't even say, okay, you're gonna rob somebody, but you're gonna kill them. All right, every time you're out here, you're catching bodies all over the place. How long do you expect that to go on for? How long? That's why you got like the Charleston Whites out here is like saying, hey man, lock them all up, lock them all up. He out here saying, hey man, what's the code? Why you holding on to the code? Lock them up. You can't even walk through your own hood.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like lock them all up. So he's taking the position like he hates everybody. He hates all gangs. He hates he hates what rappers represent. He basically feels like it's destroying black people. He feels like the music itself is destroying a whole generation of black people, and he might be right to a degree.
wow, wow,
Like he might be right to a degree, and it's really a sad situation because it's like you said, like you should be able to wear if you want to wear your jewels, you bought your jewels, you should be able to wear that. If you want to drive your car, you earn your car, you should be able to worry about driving your not getting carjacked, right? You should have to, you know what I mean? Like go to the gas station and people jumping in your car, like you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't have to worry about these things. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, Garth Brooks don't got to check in. Miley Cyrus ain't got to check in. You know what I'm saying? As far as we know, they don't got to check in. But this is what it is right now, and it's really a sad state of affairs. And I want the rappers out here to just just be careful. I don't want to tell them to stay dangerous because you're still in a situation where now you're defending yourself and you still got to kill somebody that look like you defending yourself.
yeah. I mean, you're in this music business now, and you really have to like look at it as a business. You got to be a professional, and I know that takes time. You get into this and you're young, but man, like I think I think is there anything that the record labels that sign these artists, is there anything that they could do on their part as far as adding a new department that focuses on grooming the artists, in just information, behavior, um, how to move. Like there needs to be some department added to, like, you got the marketing, you got promo, you got A&R, but I I think there needs to be like something added to kind of show these artists you know how to move, because
You guys,
as a record what I'm saying, as a record label, you invest all this money into them, you don't want them to get murked.
that's why they insure them. Like what you're asking for is you're asking for like how the NBA and these places that are unionized, they create like transitionary programs for people who might be coming out of high school, financial transition. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
How to deal with the groupies, how to
right,
deal with this, how to deal with that. I
right.
think that's an excellent situation that if we could say, hey, you're gonna get an advance, but before you get your advance, we got you. You got to go through this transition situation. It's almost like when you're buying a house, they're gonna say, "Hey,
Right.
you got to go through this. You need to go through. If you haven't already gone through this credit situation, you might have to go through a little bit of a credit course so that you can
Hmm.
understand what you're getting into, what's your obligation, and to try to buy, a large asset or something like that.
Right.
Should that be taking place? Yeah, because really, it's a situation where you don't know. If you don't know, you just don't know. You don't know how to move. You're gonna get this money. You're gonna buy that Richard Mille. You're gonna go out in the hood and get your head blown off. Like it's serious business. You know what I'm saying? And folks don't know how to move, and they don't know how to move. And sometimes it's be a little bit of bravado, some of it a little bit arrogant. I'm from the hood. I should be able to navigate that. I'm good here. I'm good there.
Yeah, but it's the popularity also with
Uh,
mixed with it. So there's some artists who be like, "Oh, I had this money before I got it. I became this. I've been rocking $1 million. I've been had this. I've been had this." Yeah, but now you're more popular.
yeah.
Now your fame mixed with that makes you a potential target.
And you're not good in every hood, man. Like, let's
Yeah.
be honest. Like, you might be good at home because you got an infrastructure and people feel like, okay, there'll be repercussions if something happened to you. But when you go other places, ain't nobody. The codes are not what they used to be.
Yeah,
People ain't operating. People ain't operating that way anymore.
yeah, but even in your own hood though, like Boosie said it himself, like how most rappers are getting killed in their own hometown. So you're not good at home either.
You're not good nowhere, bro. I want to tell people that, like, you're not good anywhere. That's a facade. Maybe good for a short while, but once folks kind of get an idea of where you rest your head, you're in danger.
So and we're not saying this to frustrate or discourage upcoming artists or artists that or artists or people that's trying to be artists or trying to get into this game. We're not trying to frustrate you. We're just trying to give you the real. And you know, if you're lucky enough to you know make it, successful, get a huge advance, you know, famous, got a hit record, you know, you need to really think about how you're gonna move around. You gotta take this, be a professional. You can't just wing it. You can't use all the same codes or the way you were before. No, it's different now. It's different, and they like to throw these terms and quotes. I keep it real, and I'll never switch up, and all these fancy things that sound cute, but in all reality, man, all it's doing is just making things worse for you. It's putting you on a bad path. Living dangerous. You only live once. All these cute sayings. It's putting you on the wrong path, man.
Wrong
You want to
mindset.
you
Yeah.
want to you want to be around, man. You want to live. You want to be around. You want to see the fruits of your success. You want to see your kids grow up.
Bro.
You want to enjoy life. And in order to do that, you got to put a plan together on how you're going to do that. You get this advantage, you get this popularity. Now you got to start thinking, okay, you got to get down with a team and say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to post this. You got to have certain rules. You think Jay and Beyonce, they got certain rules that anytime they meet with anyone, they got certain rules and they can't. They got an infrastructure set up. You can't even go in there and take pictures. You know what I'm saying? There's rules. You
Yeah.
can't do this. You can't do that. You got to talk to this person before you can get to that person. This is
They layer themselves and they're insulated.
right. This can't go out. This is not approved until this person signs off and that person signs off. They set up an infrastructure to protect the artist. So the key thing is that you got to put together an infrastructure to protect you. Put some certain rules down. You know, don't put geo tracking on your Instagram posts.
Or any
You
of your
know,
apps.
right? You know, if you're gonna post something, maybe you should post it after you leave. You got to set up certain rules to kind of just protect yourself and your family. You
For real.
know, because it's not just you. You have a whole bunch of people that's looking up to you or
Relying
depending
on
on
you.
you.
because
Right,
you as an artist, you become the asset,
right.
and it
So
has to turn into asset protection.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's asset protection. Maybe this restaurant I shouldn't be. I shouldn't. Maybe I should send someone to get the food over there. If I like that meal so much, send someone. You know, um, you gotta make little rules for yourselves, and your team got to be on deck with these rules and how you walk around. Don't go to a show and hang out until 3 4 in the morning until the show until the venue closed down. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Get there at a certain time, leave at a certain time, and stick to that. You got to set up some sort of protocol, some sort of rules that you guys follow to ensure that to keep you guys safe. You can't just wing it
Sheesh. Said a whole lot right there, brother. You know, said a whole lot right there.
because it's
Um,
different. It's
it
different when you got
it
the fame.
it is different, and just I want to double back to the um the labels insuring the artists. Art labels have been insuring artists in their contracts for decades. It's not new. I know some folks are saying, "Oh, this is just like a Empire thing that people are just all these artists on Empire are getting are passing away." It's it's listen. Um, these contracts have always they've always had the ability to take out insurance on artists because of the size of the advances, and because music the music industry as a whole is for a lot of people is destructive, and it perpetuates self-destructive behavior. If you're in rock music, if you're in this music, we're talking about alcohol, drugs. This has always been the landscape. So a lot of labels have implemented the insurance clauses for a long time, and they always had the option to insure said artists if they're letting go certain types of money. That's always been part of the situation for as long as I've known.
So
Um,
Jug,
20
so
years,
Jug,
maybe plus.
so break it down exactly. What that means because uh, I'm not going to assume that everyone knows exactly what that means as far as insurance on the artist.
So what happens is there's language in contracts if you're doing certain deals that the label can basically have the option to take out a life insurance policy on the artist, right? So, you got a lot of artists who, if you're from Kurt Cobain to, Pimp C, you got artists that pass away from various and different situations. So the labels have always put language inside of their contracts to be able to insure the artist to make sure that they can basically collect life insurance in the case of the artist passing away, during the term of the contract. And this is a way for them to protect the interest that they put into the deals. So if they're putting a lot of money up and behind you to help create your record, they want to make sure that there's a way for them to recoup those expenses in the case of your demise.
Basically, in black and white, they want their money back, regardless. I gave you $1 million. I want my mill back plus.
Right. And we're
I
gonna
don't
get it.
care.
We're
I don't
gonna get
care
it
if
if you're
you
alive or you're dead.
allow it. That we're gonna get our money
We're
back.
gonna get our money back. And look, people say, "Oh, that's really wrong," but look, if you get a mortgage tomorrow, it's insured. Mortgage insurance. No one is lending out money without insurance. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the nature of the game, because things happen and people can't fulfill their obligations, and then people don't want to be left in the cold. So they're going to either come back for your house, or they're going to come for your house and they're going to collect the mortgage insurance for the default. So it's
Yeah,
the same. It's the same situation. So if you
that
happen
rate
to
that rate must be high.
no, it's just part of the industry, and
No, I mean specific for rappers.
listen, it would be I would wonder what that would look like for labels to do that, but in this environment right now, I would expect that most folks or most labels are taking out insurance policies because the type of money that they're giving the artists, and then also artists are going they're being, it's bad things that are happening, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's almost guaranteed, but it's like it's happening at a high rate. So if you're a
So
label,
you
you would be silly not to do it.
so Jug, like if you had to pick out three things that an artist, um, you know, he has a hit record, a new label just or a major label just decided to scoop him up, and he just got fronted $500,000. Like, what are three things that you know they can do as far as moving around to kind of protect themselves?
Well, you said it earlier, you have to start setting up rules and protocols. I think
Yeah.
that's the first thing.
Hmm.
Rules and protocols into, okay, who can get to the artist? Um, what are the rules in terms of when we have engagements, right? When we have venues, um, what's the rules?
Right.
Where we're going? Which venues will we accept?
Right.
Who's
Right.
you know who's casing out the joints before we go, right?
Mm.
Um, like where are we staying? Who's checking this? What's happening in the city? Who has the temperature on those places where we're going? You
Right.
have to start setting up these infrastructures because again, we're talking about urban music, right? So if we're
Right.
talking about hip hop and urban music, most times you're gonna be performing in places that are not the best places. Like, let's just be honest, especially in the beginning when you're trying to get the bag up, when you're trying to get your notoriety up, you're gonna have
Hmm.
to be in the trenches, and you're gonna have to touch some of these people, and you're gonna have to be in places that you can make your music grow organically. And with that comes some risk. Now, someone on your team has to be able to assess that risk, right?
Yeah.
Is it worth this artist going here? Is it worth this? And if we are going to go here, how do we make ourselves as safe as possible,
Right.
right? Do we let the promoter book everything for us so that the third party knows where we are, right?
Mm. Wow.
Or do you say, okay, hey, hand over the bread and we'll book what we got to book for ourselves, so that you don't know when we're going to get there, where we staying, right? Because again, that also used to be the tricks. The promoters used to be in on it. Hey, I just
Wow.
gave such and such 50,000. Go get it. He's staying at X hotel. You know what I'm saying? So there's a circle. If you're dealing, especially on lower levels, you have to create an infrastructure that you're going to be able to protect yourself in.
That's the
And
infrastructure.
and
Yeah.
and and if you don't have that, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
Um, you have to have people that's willing to tell you, like, okay, listen, it's time to cut it off. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we overextend ourselves. We stay in a place too long. If the goal is to go get dinner and get out. Don't get dinner and then be sitting there after dinner for 3-4 hours talking in places that you're not supposed to be in, and
Right.
giving people chances to set up on you outside when you walk out.
Wow.
Like, these
Yep.
these are just regular run of the mill situations. Things that I've always seen. You know, Going into different neighborhoods. Most of us come from different hoods. We know the rules, but somehow we forget the rules when we go to different cities.
Yeah.
Like, you can't forget the rules. It's the same rules that apply to you. You don't go to certain places in your own hood. You need to know where not to go and when you go someplace else.
Yep.
And it's incumbent on us to know that. And if we
I
don't
would
know
I
that,
would I would say that's number two.
yeah,
Number one, setting up an infrastructure. Number two, know the rules. Be
gotta
aware.
gotta know
Know
the
what's going
rules.
on around you.
Yep,
You got it. You can't just pull up. You can't just hop out of this gas station. Oh, we need gas. Let's hop out of this gas station. Well, my that gas station may be notorious for carjacking.
that's right.
You know, uh, I would say number three. Number three, I would say really just to on more on a financial level, to more take the money or whatever and get a financial advisor. You know,
I agree with that.
because what happens is you take the money and then you just start spending. You start immediately start throwing on the jewelry, the costume, the rapper starter kit as they call it. You know, so I think once you get a financial advisor, a good one, and you communicate with this advisor, it'll help. Um, it'll help you in dictating. Okay, what should I be spending my money on? Should I really be spending half my budget on the chain? Should I really be doing this and doing that? And you gotta, like, again, you gotta. This is a business. You gotta be professional. And if you treat it as such, then it'll reward you as such. But if you're out here with no infrastructure, unaware of the rules, and spending money crazy,
Spending money,
you're
flossing
setting
money.
yourself up.
Yeah. Putting yourself in areas where you become, it's like you're like a light post in a dark room. You know what I mean? Like you're creating a lot of problems for yourself. And this is not to give the the perpetrators a pass.
Right.
You know, you guys got to cut it out, man. You guys got to stop doing what you're doing, man, because it's getting to a point where like some activists, you would say, hey, you can't save everybody. Some dogs got to get put down.
Mm. Wow.
Like it is what it is. Like if we can't move and we can't find a way to get folks on the same page, if we can't, if your envy or your jealousy or your greed is just too much and it's poisonous and toxic to the rest of the community, you don't leave us too many choices.
Yo,
Folks gonna start calling Charleston White on y'all.
I saw a Farrakhan uh, video, and he basically was saying some of y'all getting in the way.
Yep.
Y'all getting away. You're getting in the way of progress.
Yep.
How are your peoples are supposed to fight for you and try to rally for things in our community
We can't get it because
when
of the way that y'all doing. What y'all doing, we can't do it. That you wondering why they sending money to Ukraine, they ain't sending no money to the hood. Like you got to really think about it. Like why aren't we as a people getting the assistance that we're supposed to be getting? Does it have something to do with the fact that folks think that we're savages, killing each other at this high clip? What's the point of trying to save them? They can't save themselves.
mm,
Like you gotta really think about it. So like, like you said, if Farrakhan say folks are getting in the way of our progress, you know, people gonna have to start having those hardcore conversations as to what does that look like. Like if we're gonna move forward as a community, but we can't move forward because we got rabid dogs in the backyard, what you gonna
right,
do?
right.
What you gonna do? Some folks are beyond rehabilitation. What are you gonna do? That's a hard conversation that we don't want to talk about and that we don't want to have. But
Mm,
listen, once somebody goes in and he goes to take something from somebody, one you go to rob, and then when you kill him, that's like evil incarnate, man. Walking on the street, man. We don't know who did that, and they still out here walking to do it again.
wow.
You know what I mean? Like, and this is and can't have it, man. Because that can be our sons. You feel
Absolutely.
me? It could be a chain that we gave our son from our hard work, or our son could be earning something, and then somebody want to take it from them because they didn't have the strength or they didn't have the discipline to earn it themselves.
Right.
You know, nah, can't have it. Like honestly, you can't have it, man. Like you know what I'm saying. And I'm not really with it, all of that. You know, I think I had a situation when I was really really young, and my moms had sent me to the store to go get something, and I had a bike, little BMX bike, whatever. But before I went to the store, I was going to go stop at the BMX trail. There's like, you can do whatever. Some older kids came in and tried to steal my bike. So, we kind of fought them off, whatever. Excuse me. But at that point, I stopped riding my bike. I started lifting weights. And I made that thing in my head and say, hey, I'll never let somebody take something from me again. You know what I'm saying? But you go through this, or somebody try to take something from you, but you go through these things, and look what it turns you into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you can't even be a kid no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could have been I'm probably 13, when that happened. 12, 13 when that happened.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Start riding bikes. I was like, I'm not riding no more bikes. I'm lifting weights now, bro. Like, I'm boxing now. I'm not doing none of that. There's nobody gonna ever try me again like that again. But it was like, it was just part of the situation where you in these environments, now you become aggressive.
Yeah.
Right? That's what happens. And that's what happens. And then people wonder what's going on. But at the end of the day, it's like, we in these environments, folks gotta really, like, I understand where it is, where it's dynamics, strong people gonna do what they're gonna do. You're always gonna have some aggressive people. But the killing, can't have it. Can't have the killing, man. Like, that can't fly. There gotta be rules to it. The killing gotta stop. It's too much killing.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's that Arkatech Beatz music business podcast, man. It's different today. It's gonna hit different.
Yep. Every so often, man, we just gotta drop something else outside of the business, but it still affects the business.
Look, I'm. The question that we have to start asking ourselves is like this: how long before they deem that the music is, no longer a positive for the community?
Man,
remember we went through that stint where they was steamrolling CDs, and now we're in a time where there ain't really no more free speech. Cancellation happens.
But it's like you said earlier, when it starts to affect them, I think that's when it's gonna you're gonna get that resistance. When it starts to affect them, whether it's their household, or their bottom line, when it starts to affect them, then I think that's when things will start to turn around. But as long as it's not affecting them, it's like,
I don't know, man. Like, I as I see it now, it's like the music is detrimental to the community at this point, man.
yeah.
Like,
Unfortunately, and there's no real good variety either.
yeah, it's getting to the point where it's all negative.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting to that point, and then the question is going to start. Like, if it's all negative, if it's promoting violence, if it's promoting drug use, if it's promoting, quote unquote misogynistic rape or whatever, if it's promoting these things, right? Then they're going to say, what's the responsibility of the labels? And then once that pressure starts, right, the livelihoods of how many people start to get in jeopardy.
Yeah, man. But this is a conversation that's been happening for decades, man.
But it's a different time now, because now cats can press a button and cancel you out.
Yeah.
They can deplatform you without even having. There's no more. Before we used to be able to hide under the Congress situation or go hide under the Constitution and say, hey, we got free speech, free speech, free speech. That's not the case anymore. The case is, if you say something that people do not like online, they can cancel you.
Yeah. And each company that owns a platform could shut you down.
Right.
So
And they do it in
basically,
unison.
you're banned from this platform, then that platform,
Everything.
and it just follows suit until you're gone.
Telling these folks, be careful out here. Protect your interests. Make sure that you're moving the way you need to move. But that's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. Make sure you check us out at www.arkatechbeatz.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. It's at Arkatech Beatz. Rappers are in danger. Stay safe out here, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Arkatech